What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's video we're going to go over 5 things I love about the Audi S3. My wife and I have owned this car for around 7 or 8 months now, and quite honestly we could have not picked a better car for the time being. There are so many awesome aspects to owning the 8V Audi S3. With that said, number 1 on the list is the power. Now this vehicle pumps out around 300 horsepower from the turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with the stock tuning. So a pretty good amount of power. It's nothing too crazy, obviously not the fastest car out there, but you would be surprised when you drive the S3, this thing moves. When you use launch control, I can do 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. That's the same as what I got in the Nissan Z, which has a 400 horsepower twin turbo V6. And honestly, barely slower than a Supra and quite fast when you compare it to even some V8 cars. This thing is so surprising how much pep there is. Even in the stock tune, it never felt slow. You pin it in dynamic mode and you get moving. Launch control is just nuts with the all-wheel drive. It's just such a good little package. Again, this is not some crazy high-performance car. It's got a little 4-cylinder, and yet the power and pep, it just feels so fun. Again, it's not going to blow your socks off in performance, but you honestly never think it's slow. It just feels fun and peppy. And with that, it's a 4-cylinder. For the most part, when you put an exhaust system on a 4-cylinder, they never sound good. I'm really not a big fan. This car sounds performance focused. It sounds beefy. Something Audi does with this 4-cylinder engine, it actually gives you an aggressive tone. Doesn't sound like a racer. It sounds like a performance car with a serious engine. So I don't know how Audi did it. Their engineers did something special, but the engine in this car packs a nice punch and it sounds really good. Number 2 on the list is the fact that this actually feels like an Audi. It feels refined, it feels like a nice car. I've driven some of the cheapest, smallest German cars, and for the most part, they kind of just feel like they're a Toyota Corolla, dressed up a little bit with silver trim and maybe some leather here and there. The S3, especially the 8V, I feel like the quality is slightly better actually than the 8Y. But when you're in this car, it feels like you're in a real Audi, something that they thought about. They didn't just pump it out to get a quick, cheap car out there for the public. I feel like they actually made this car because they wanted to make you a fun little sporty car. And when you look around in the interior, while it's nothing special or fancy looking, it feels refined. The quality of everything, I mean, the leather on the steering wheel feels really nice. The detailed stitching, you know, you get this aluminum color accent everywhere. This, I'm pretty sure, is real aluminum. I can't quite tell. It feels that nice. Everything is just kind of simple and nice. You have that nice solid click from all the buttons like any other Audi. Get a few fancy things like the screen that pops up. And then newer models do get a full digital dashboard if you have the 2017 model. It's a car that when I'm driving this and just using it, I feel like I'm in a premium car, even though it's not a 7 Series or some expensive car. It's a nice place to be on the highway cruising. We've driven this 10 hours up to Michigan. It's a nice car to be in. It really is. It's not just a cheap car that feels cheap. It feels very nice and it feels premium, and yet it's their basic car with the sporty touch of being the S trim level. So number 3 on the list is the handling with the S3. Our car has the Black Optics performance package on this car that includes the magnetic suspension. And on top of that, the S3 of course has different drive modes. Now I've driven some amazing cars over the years. I own a GTR, used to have a Supra, a Nismo 370Z. So I've driven a lot of cars that handle really good, and this thing surprised me. We are also sitting on H&R lowering springs, and we took this on a mountain trip. My brother was in his R8, our friend was in his M340, and we were going through the turns, keeping up with everybody, ripping through the turns. The car is flat, the car is fun, it is so well balanced. And when you look at all the drive modes in the car, as you can see, we have the car icon right there. You can control it here. If I go into the car logo, we have different drive modes. You have the dynamic, which is the full performance focus mode, then the softest setting. If I configure individual, you can adjust your engine and transmission, the sound, how snappy the trans is. You have the damper control for the suspension. You can tighten the steering. Now for a car that's not Audi's flagship, this is kind of their cheapest sporty car, to have real drive modes that do something. There's cars out there that cost a lot more than this that don't have any drive modes, that are fixed one way. To have a car like this to where you can put in comfort mode and be cruising, just be in comfort, go to dynamic mode and the whole thing tightens up and you can just take turns so well. It's a huge selling point and really impressed me. The steering is so good. It is so nimble, just whipping it through the mountains. I honestly this is one of my favorite cars to take in the mountains. If I had to choose this or the GTR, while the GTR's got so much more power, if it's a tight road, I want to take this because it is so darn nimble. Number 4 on the list has to do with the looks. I mean, just look at it. This thing looks so cool for what it is. This one particularly is painted in a factory Riviera Blue from Audi. The original owner paid about $5,000 to have this car spec'd in a custom color. The fact that we found this color is mind-blowing, and this car turns heads. When we bought it, I had no intentions of obviously trying to impress people with how amazing this car is or anything like that, but I'm so shocked with how many people who see this in public, you know, they look at it, they take pictures of it, people ask about it all the time. It's an impressive looking car. While it doesn't kind of scream, you know, being flashy or anything like that, it's not an in-your-face type of car. It's just such a clean design, and with this color and of course with the few upgrades we've done on the exterior, people notice and they look at it as something really cool looking. So it's a car that turns heads and just looks amazing, and every time we look at it, I mean, I just can't get enough of it. I love the proportions, I love the sizing, I love how the fenders bulge outward. Of course, the stance with the wheels and everything is perfectly flush, and just all the black accents make this car look like something really special. And then number 5 on the list is the bang for the buck. I think this is an insanely affordable car, and yet you get so much out of it. We paid around $35,000 with like 25,000 miles on it. And I think of all the things we talked about in this video, the power, the performance, the refinements, and just how clean it is inside and out, I think that price point is absolutely a steal. I think this is one of the cars in today's crazy market that didn't really get affected with crazy high pricing. I feel like this is just a very well-priced car, and it's easy to own, it's cheap to maintain, insurance is cheap on it. We pay around $700 for the entire year to insure it, full coverage and everything like that. So it's really nothing to afford and nothing to own. I think the average price of a new car is well over $40,000. So this is honestly a significantly cheaper price than what the average person is paying for a car. And with just how well-rounded it is, I don't think I can find another car for 35 grand that I would rather buy. And even though we have planned to buy the Audi S3 to replace this car in the next year or so, I am in no rush to sell this car. It is so much fun, so much value with it. And the S3 truly has been an awesome car to own, and I'm really excited about continuing to own it, keep racking up some miles on it, and just keep enjoying what the Audi S3 has to offer. So I think that is about it then, taking a look at the 5 things I'm loving about the Audi S3. My wife loves this car too. We really can't say enough positive things. If you guys enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for plenty more content. I'll see you all in the next video.